Welcome to this special edition of the Basketball Show podcast. Today, I talk with Boston Celtic assistant Jermaine Bucknor, who hails from Edmonton, who was part of this magical title run that the Celtics just finished. I think you're really going to enjoy as we get an inside look into the Boston Celtics organization.
Welcome back to the Basketball Show on Sports 1440. I'm your host, Paul Sir. A little bit of a story here. Many years ago, went to Mary Butterworth School. Now, I don't even remember if it was a middle school or an elementary K-9 or what it was. And I was coaching my son Steve and his team. And at the time, the division that they were in was something you would never say today. It was called the midget division, which is now under 13. And, you know, you show up in gyms with young kids, and once in a while, somebody just jumps off the court, and you go, wow, there's something special here. But there was this somewhat chubby player who was out there playing, and I just go, wow, look at the hands, the movement, the footwork. And you go, this kid's going to be something special, and special he is. Jermaine Bucknor went on to a three-peat at Ross Shepherd High School. I believe the greatest high school team of all time in the province of Alberta. All-conference career at Richmond University with the Spiders, and then a double-digit pro career overseas. And now Jermaine just happens to be with a little team called the Boston Celtics, who just won the NBA championship. And I am so proud to be able to say I coached Jermaine at one time and have been considered Jermaine to be such a great friend and for such a long time. And Jermaine Bucknor joins me this morning on the Basketball Show. Wow, Jermaine. I had to give that introduction because I have to give some context to your journey. It's an amazing journey. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Paul. I appreciate that introduction too. It's awesome to kind of recap and go back and reminisce on the Mary Butterworth days and, you know, back to that time when we met for the first time.
Well, you know, and those were such significant parts of a person's development, Jermaine. I mean, talk about your growing up in Edmonton not being, especially at that time, a hotbed of basketball, but all of a sudden emerging out of this city, which had good basketball, and I'm not trying to be derogatory, but to have a high school team with players like yourself, Steve, Phil Sudol, Brandon Park, Spencer Dorward, Joel Allen, I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it all the time to this day. You know, when you go back and look at our high school team, the success that we had, the brotherhood that we grew, the development that we had as players at that young age. And then to have a coach like Dave Youngs, obviously, and, you know, having yourself, you know, Mr. Allen, Coach Allen out there. We had, like, you talk about our players and the talent that we had, but we also had phenomenal coaches and, like, parents around us. Like, you know, to have you in the gym with us as a parent who was, like, very hands-on, and then to have my dad around and to have just so many people who understood the game. Because for myself, I started basketball late, right? Later than the majority of our group that we were with. So I was really still developing and trying to figure out my body and grow into my body and figuring out the skill set. And not only that, but like the work ethic for myself and my development. Those Ross Shepherd days were so big for me, you know. Like Steve played such a huge role in my development because he had all that stuff. He understood, like, the work ethic. He understood what it took to win at such a young age. Like, when I look back on that now, and I'm like remembering, you know, Steve as a 15, 16-year-old, and I coming to school like, yo, Jermaine, like, you're not in the weight room. Like, Buck, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm at home doing push-ups every night, you know. And like, for me, that was such a huge part of my development. And that team to me is just so special in regards to, like, my basketball journey and, like, where I am now. I always am able to look back on those days and acknowledge that is, like, what sparked everything that came after that.
Well, Jermaine, let's fast forward now. I mean, it was a wonderful foundation. You gave, you have left with so many memories. My wife was just in Ross Shep this morning looking at the Wall of Fame with your picture up there
Awesome.
alongside Steve. And, just the journey that you've been on. Well, it ended up this year in Boston with the Celtic organization. Tell us how that happened.
Yeah, oh man, it's an incredible story. It starts. So I've been coaching for the last couple of years overseas with one of my former teams, developing my coaching journey and trying to transition out of my playing career. It was great. It had been a great couple of years of development and figuring out myself now as a coach, my strategy and the things that I wanted to take into coaching. I'm fortunate enough to play for some really incredible coaches over the years, including names like Jay Triano, who's an assistant with Sacramento Kings, and Mike Malone, who's the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, and some other really great coaches in Germany. And just kind of like figuring my coaching journey out and what I wanted to look like and the strategies that I wanted to take and use for myself. And then at the end of last season, I went to Shanghai and was doing some player development work with the Shanghai Sharks. And again, figuring out, what I wanted the next step to be. One of my best friends, Tony Dobbins, who was a former teammate of mine at Richmond, has been an assistant coach with the Celtics and was given the head coaching job of the summer league team, Boston Celtics summer league team last year in Vegas. And he had called me and asked me to come on and be one of his assistants. So that's kind of how the journey started. As I flew into Boston, I had a couple of weeks in Boston. We had training camp. I had an opportunity to meet, Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens and the rest of the coaching staff. And, it was like day one that I got there, they had some tasks that they had lined up for me in regards to, video editing and video scouting, player development, getting on the court with guys, putting them through drills and stuff like that. So long story short, I ended up being there for that 2 weeks. Then we went out to Summer League. We were there for about 2 weeks. So it ended up being like about 3 weeks to a month that I was there with them. And at the end of Summer League, I was flying back to Germany at the time. And as soon as I landed in Germany, my phone rings and I get a phone call. It's Joe Mazzulla. And basically he says, like, the last 3.5 weeks, we didn't say anything to you, but it was pretty much, it was a job interview and you killed it. And, Brad and myself would like to, and the Boston Celtics organization would like to offer you a job. And that's really how it all came to be. So quite incredible. Quite incredible.
What a wonderful story, Jermaine. What a wonderful outcome from a fantastic experience. But I think the key phrase in there, I mean, let's take out the fact that it's Joe Mazzulla, the head coach,
right?
Who by the way, is a lot younger than you.
Absolutely,
and, which is hilarious.
It's incredible.
What a quality man. I mean, that's I think one of the biggest understatements I could ever make.
He's fascinating. He's fascinating.
He truly is. So here you are. You're with the Boston Celtics. You're doing video editing and scouting. You're on the court. Everybody's going to be dying to know, what's it like to be on the court working with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum? Yeah. I mean, because for most people that's just unthinkable, unimaginable. But I'll run one statement by you. They're unbelievable players and talents, but they're just, in the end, they're just dudes.
Absolutely.
So what's it like, Jermaine?
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it better. We see these guys on TV, and my kids were fortunately enough, funny story. My kids were fortunately were able to be at game 1 and 2 of the NBA Finals here in Boston. And they were on the court pregame, and they're with the guys on the court and interacting with them, which was just like, for me as a father, like the most incredible thing to see, you know? And I'm looking at them and I'm seeing like the look on their faces, and they're just in awe, you know, and they're just amazed, and they just can't believe that they're interacting with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis. They're just in absolute awe. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, why are they? They're just in a zone. Like they don't know what's going on around them. And I'm observing them, and I've seen my kids excited, but not to that point. And it was fascinating to me. And I started to think about it. And that night when I got home, just kind of recapping the day, and I tried to put myself into their shoes, and I pictured myself, you know, in 96 or 98, laying on the couch with my dad, watching Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Steve Kerr and that Bulls team go on their run, and watching them in the NBA Finals, and trying to picture myself like that. What my kids went through, that would be like me sitting courtside at the United Center and Michael Jordan walking by and coming and saying hello. And when I put it in, when I looked at it through that lens, I was able to realize that these guys they're phenoms, you know, they're superheroes to the kids. And they are to myself in a way, but to answer your question, I see them very differently now. And when I first got to the organization, again, I was also, in a sense, you're not starstruck, because like this is something we've done our entire lives, and we've been on the court with incredible players and incredible athletes, but you're still like, damn, like I have the responsibility to help a Jaylen Brown or a Jason Tatum improve their basketball game. These are some of the best athletes, best basketball players in the world. Like, what can I give them to help them improve? And, you know, when you really sit back and think about it and reflect on what I've done, you know, what guys like your son, like Steve, have done, we've been doing this our entire lives. Like, basketball is not something that's foreign to us, and all the hours and the dedication, the drive, the work ethic, everything that we've put into basketball over the years, they're the exact same things that these guys need now today. Like, the game hasn't changed that much.
There's no shortcuts, are there?
There's no shortcuts. There's no reinventing the wheel, right? Like, it's hard work, it's dedication, it's time and hours on the court, it's managing your body, managing your nutrition, and it's just dedication, which is stuff that we've been doing. So when you look at it through that lens, and like, I'm always trying to improve, always trying to learn, always trying to add to my player profile, add to my coaching profile. You're just taking the same things that you've done your entire life and now implementing it into their workouts. And that's really all it is. So these guys, they are stars, they're studs, but they're just young men who are trying to improve on a daily basis. And it's our job to help them do that.
I'm talking with Jermaine Bucknor, ex-Ross Shep Thunderbird, ex-Richmond Spider, now Boston Celtic. Jermaine, I love the way you framed that, because I think so often kids get taken down the path of, if you do this or you come do that, you're going to end up here. You know what I mean? Like at some high level. And the message is so often misunderstood or not even realized, whether it's by coaches or mentors or whatever, that it's what you do when nobody's looking, number one. Mm-hmm. It's practicing the right things the right way at the right speed all the time. Absolutely. The repetitions, and there's just no substitute for focused hard work. So now you're in an environment where it's highly professionalized, highly managed in terms of, I'm sure the detail management of the organization that you're involved with must be incredible. What's it like to be part of that highest level professionalized version of what you just so eloquently described? What's it like to be part of that?
Yeah, it's incredible. Paul, I have to tell you, I've always been someone who's Pride myself on attention to detail in my work. And like when I joined the Celtics organization, I very, very quickly realized like this is attention to detail is something that runs through this entire organization from top to bottom. It doesn't matter if you're talking about on the court, in the weight room, nutrition, mental health, every level of preparation for a game. Our chefs and our kitchen staff, our janitorial staff, everything is elite. And like there's no shortcuts and there's like no way around it. So if you don't have that mindset and that mentality, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. When you go to the practice facility, you're at TD Garden, everything is an elite level of preparation and attention to detail and work ethic. So for myself, I really felt right at home. And that was one of the things that, Brad and Joe has said to me before they hired me, was that like I fit right at home there because I shared the same mindset and the same attitude. So for me, it's like it's so enjoyable going to work every day and being around a coaching staff and organization filled with people who share the same mindset. So it really is a true blessing, being able to go on that type of work atmosphere on a daily basis.
Okay, so here we are, Jermaine. You're part of an NBA championship team, the 18th, the winningest franchise in NBA history. Being of the vintage I am. I grew up watching Bill Russell, John Havlicek. I didn't quite catch Bob Cousy, right. But I've had the privilege through my life, and I've always been a Celtics fan until about 15 years ago. Then I kind of lost my interest. It's all back now because of the way that the team won, the attention to detail you just described, the quality of the management, the coaching staff. It just emanates. It just permeates how they conduct themselves as an organization. But now I'm going to give you some rapid fire questions, buddy, that you've got to give me some, you got to share your honest feelings. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Number one, I saw Jaylen Brown in the 2016 Las Vegas Summer League. Was the year Steve played with the Bucks. And you could just see he had a special talent. That guy has had to work so hard, though, to refine that talent. His ability on both sides of the ball, with the ball, the versatility in his scoring. What was it like when you're out there coaching Jaylen Brown? How do you interact with him? Like, do you ever say, Jaylen, no, you can't do that. You got to focus on this. Do you have to walk on eggshells, or can you just be really blunt? I'm guessing you can just be really blunt.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, so these guys, they are, because of like their elite status in like everyday society, they can often be a little bit closed off, right? Understandably.
Yeah.
I feel like for any celebrity, you might struggle with, how do I say this? Just trust, right?
Yeah.
Just trust.
Like, what's this person want from me?
What does this person want from me? Why are they now in my life? I have a small circle as it is. Now this new person is in my circle, and I got to feel them out. And I need to know that they have not only mine, but this organization's best interest in mind. So like, I remember day one with Jaylen and being introduced to him. And the first day that I met him, I had a workout with him and just trying to feel him out and get to know him and understand his game and understand what makes him tick. And it probably took about a solid month, I'd say, before I really was able to like crack in to Jaylen. And like now we have a great relationship. And being on the court with him, he's extremely coachable. He wants to improve on a daily basis. Tony Dobbins is his primary coach, and I work with Tony. So I'm on the court with Jaylen on a daily basis. I'm guarding Jaylen. I'm helping put him through drills. So it's really interesting because Jaylen's a work dog. Like, he is a dog. Like, he's going to come in there and put himself and coaching staff through the ringer because he wants to improve. A funny story, like 3 weeks ago, we are getting ready to play in the second round against Cleveland. We don't get a lot of days off, but we had 1 day off. I think it was in between game 2 and 3. And I was like relieved because I was like, man, I need this. You know,
Yeah, I bet.
I'm like, I need this. And then I get a message from Jalen at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, yo, I need you to meet me at the gym at 6 to work out. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like everybody else is sleeping, right? Like guys are resting their bodies, trying to recover. And
Sure.
like, he just wants to get in the gym and he wants to improve. And that's someone who I can relate to. You know, as you know, Steve and myself, man, plenty of mornings where we met at the gym at 6 a.m. To get our work in. And that's just somebody I relate to and I connect with very well. So being on the court with him, like I said, he's very coachable. He listens. He wants to improve. He accepts criticism, which I think is also another thing that can be difficult for players at this elite level to do. But he's absolutely phenomenal, and it's no surprise to me that he's accomplished the things that he has this year.
I'm talking with Jermaine Bucknor, member of the world champion Boston Celtic organization, Edmonton native, here on the Basketball Show on Sports 1440. I promised rapid fire, but that was slow fire, so we'll go rapid.
Let's go rapid.
How interesting is it to watch Luka Doncic play? Like, he's such a different player. He beats you with everything that's atypical, kind of like Jokic.
Yeah.
You know, like, but they're just such atypical players in the NBA, yet they're dominant players in the NBA. What's it like watching him play, Jermaine?
It's phenomenal. Like, it's absolutely phenomenal because if you look at the NBA is filled and littered with athletes, some of the best athletes in the world. They jump higher than anybody. They run faster than anybody. They just have lateral quickness and movement. And Luka doesn't really have any of those things. Yet he's able to score 30, 40, 50 points on any given night and this is against the best defenders in the world. And it's just phenomenal to watch. He's absolutely incredible, especially on the offensive end of the floor. And he moves at his own pace. You cannot speed him up. He's got good size. He's got a good body where he can play physically down on the post, or he can stretch you out to the perimeter because he's got height as well. Shoot from anywhere, extreme confidence. So watching him and Jokic both is absolutely incredible.
When the finals were coming up, you know, a lot of people were saying, well, Boston really hasn't been tested. The East is so much weaker than the West. Whoever comes out of the Western Conference are just going to be so much more battle tested. And really, Boston for the first time is going to be confronted with this hardened group. But number one, we found out that wasn't the case. But number two, with Luka, what's amazing to watch, and you described it really well about being able to play at his own pace. The thing that I think, again, always trying to relate it to what young people should be working on. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody who is as all around fundamentally sound in his ability to get his shot in such a variety of ways, along with his court vision, a tremendous ability to pass. But I mean, whatever you take from him, he'll immediately go to what you don't have on him in the spot. If you're taking away his shot, he'll go under you. If you're taking away his left, he'll go right.
Yes.
I mean, that overcomes that lack of that explosive athleticism that you described, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And Dallas was my scout. So that was one of the teams that I had to watch extremely close and scout. And obviously, like, I'm keying in on Luka and Kyrie and, just their strengths, their weaknesses, where we can attack them, how we take these different aspects of their game away. And I've done that this entire season with various teams and like some of the best basketball players in the world. Luka was the toughest one because it was so hard to figure out how to take away his strengths. And then when you do take him away, like his counters, he has a counter for everything. And the thing that we have to remember about Luka is a lot of guys, they come to the NBA, at the age of Well, now it's younger than it was when, myself, when I was coming out of school, and guys were going to school for 4 years and coming out at the age of 21 and 22. Now the guys are going to school for 1 year, one and done in 2 years, and coming out a little bit earlier, but they're still physically developed from college, or they're coming into the league at the age of 20 and they're developing really quickly. We got to remember that Luka started his professional career overseas at a much younger age than a lot of these guys. And on a stage, a EuroLeague stage, that for people who don't know European basketball is just as big, and if not bigger than, some NBA franchises in regards to like the fan support and the attention that they get in their particular cities. But he's been doing this from a very young age. So, and he's always been this speed. This is not something new. So it's over the course of the years of being tested that he's figured out all these different counters. So it's almost impossible to stop him. Fortunately enough, we have some of the best defenders in the world. And if you look at our roster with Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, we have some of the best guard defenders across the NBA. And it took all four of those guards to stop this one man. So a lot of respect to Luka. He's incredible.
I thought, Jermaine, going into the finals, to me, the X factor was your defensive backcourt. Absolutely. Never mind how great they are offensively. They're both really good offensive players, and both willing to assume a role that fits into the obvious offensive talents of Tatum and Brown, and they build around them, which is really, I think, one of the most marvelous accomplishment of Coach Mazzulla and your entire Celtics organization, is to take such dynamic offensive powers that can both score individually on you going to the basket or shooting the three, mold them into a unit, and then have the complementary pieces around them. But Holiday and White, I genuinely admire them as players, because they are elite defenders. They're long, they're strong, they're smart, and my gosh, are they tough. And so Luka, even though he still scored, he had to work harder to score. Yes. And quite honestly, they changed Kyrie. Kyrie had a couple of good games. Again, outside looking in, not trying to sound like, in any way I can relate to what's going on out there, but they made Kyrie really uncomfortable for most of the series. Yeah. When he had a big game, boy, did he have to earn it. And when he wasn't 100% on his game, they took whatever they could away from him.
Absolutely.
Those two guys seem like consummate pros. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. You couldn't be more accurate. And everything you said is true about them. They're extremely selfless individuals. They care about winning. They care about their teammates. They care about the organization. All they wanted to do was win. And I think it was really hard, probably harder on myself and some of our other coaches, leading up to this series, to hear the talk about our team. And there's a lot of negativity surrounding us. And
you have never won the big one.
Never won the big one.
Yeah.
We haven't been battle tested. We haven't gone through anybody. Luka and Kyrie being the best backcourt to ever play the game, and Dallas in 6. We heard it all, And for myself, I've worked with these guys every single day, right, day in and day out, and I see the dedication. I see their commitment on the defensive end. It's incredible. These guys, you talk about Derek White and Drew Holiday specifically, they don't care about scoring the basketball at all. When you got a guy that comes into a game like Drew Holiday, he's an all-star. He's an NBA all-star. He's going to be representing the United States at the Olympics. This is an elite basketball player, one of the best in the world. And he comes in and says, guys, I don't care about scoring. Point out their best player. I'm going to stop them. On any given night. I mean,
wow.
Come on. As a coach, you can't ask for anything else. You can't ask for more.
Coach, teammate, whatever. I mean, it was incredible. And it was really incredible to watch. I think, people who know the game, who have seen it over the decades, understand. The people that watch the game now that maybe aren't that familiar with it just see a really great team. And I'm not trying to diminish. It's like me watching hockey. God, those guys are fast.
Right.
I have no
Yeah.
idea what they're doing, but man, they're really good at it, whatever it
Right.
is. I can't relate to it at all. But for
Yeah.
people who are real basketball nerds, junkies, aficionados, they understand and appreciate the depth of what you're just saying and the commitment that it takes to be selfless and impactful like these two guards are. And yet, in given situations, will come up with big games when the superstars are just not quite in their rhythm yet.
Right. Right. No, absolutely. And that's the thing about them is like they can play on both sides of the court. Right. It's not like they're
Yes.
just defensive players. Like when a Jalen or Jason or KP is not having an on night offensively, they'll step in. Like Drew's had some huge offensive games throughout the course of the playoffs for us, like where he led us on both ends of the court. Right. Derek has some huge offensive games and made some incredible shots when we really needed it. So these guys play on both ends of the court. They're extremely selfless. And then, they're able to pick up the slack for us offensively when we really need it.
Well, Jermaine, you're part of an NBA. You are an NBA champion. You are an NBA champion. You are part of a storied, the storied franchise, one of the storied pro franchises in the world in the history of sport. What's up for this summer?
Yeah. It's up in the air right now. We just finished, so we, it's crazy. We finished the game. Obviously celebrated after the game. That was a long. I'm still trying to get my voice back, but it was like a few hours later. We were on a flight to Miami and just got back last night. And like now, I'm just kind of having some time to like sit down and like really reflect on this. So we'll take a couple of days to do that. Tomorrow we have the parade, and then figuring out summer leagues. It's like that's the one thing about going to the NBA Finals is you're playing into almost the end of June, and then summer league camp starts early July. So there's some decisions to be made. We've had some changes in our coaching staff over the last like couple months. You saw Charles Lee, our lead assistant, took the head coaching job in Charlotte. So there's some decisions to be made there on what's going to happen moving forward with everybody. But Joe and Brad and the rest of the organization developing already a plan for next season. It never stops. So we're going to enjoy this now, but they're already talking about what the future holds, and that starts with summer league and continuing to develop our young players and trying to develop them to a place where they can make an impact on the big team.
Well, Jermaine, whatever the final itinerary looks like for this summer, I hope it's a great summer for you.
Appreciate it.
If and when you're back in Edmonton, would love to have the opportunity to sit down and say hi.
Absolutely.
Congratulations, Jermaine. Not just on your journey, your accomplishments, and all that you're doing. So excited for you, proud of you, and I know I speak for all Edmontonians when I say that. And thanks so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it, Paul. It's been a pleasure. I hope I'll be able to touch down in Edmonton at least briefly. It's been an honor over the years. I appreciate you for all your help in my development as a player and my basketball journey. It's been a true honor. Your son obviously has played a huge role in my basketball journey as well. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon.
Likewise. Jermaine Bucknor, Boston Celtics, joining me here on The Basketball Show.
All right. Appreciate it.